Hello everyone, it's I, Wacky Anime What If here to present you with What If Deku Had the Milf System, Part 2. Let's go and get into it. Currently, Izuku Midoriya is sleeping over at the Bakugo's house. He is currently thinking, I had to sleep over. My mother insisted though, might as well go to the guest room. He walks towards the guest room, he opens the door, and he lays down. Right when he lays down, he feels some moving beside him. Looks beside him and sees that Mitsuki's there. He realizes the guest room is right beside Mitsuki's room. How can I be such a dumbass, is what he thinks. Before he's about to get up, he immediately gets grabbed by Mitsuki and immediately hugged into a tight embrace. He looks behind him and sees Mitsuki's asleep, and literally she is having a bear grip on him. He is literally feeling his bones breaking, and the system is like just popped up in front of him and said, "That's a lot of damage," while Izuku's bones feel like they're popping. And Izuku says, "System, help me," while the system looks at him and says, "No," while Izuku says, "System, you're a dick," while the system says, "Yeah, I know," and it disappears. And Izuku just looks directly at Mitsuki and just ends up saying, "This is gonna be so awkward, and I don't have a shirt, so this is gonna be so bad." Because whenever Izuku goes to sleep, he just doesn't have a shirt on. So, currently, if Bakugo walked in and saw this, he doesn't even want to know. He's just imagining Bakugo just exploding towards him. And that scares the absolute shit out of him. Before he just falls asleep. Right, POV change. Currently, Mitsuki has just woken up and it's daytime. She immediately sees that Izuku's directly in front of her. She immediately thinks, did he crawl into my bed, or did I crawl into his? She looks around and sees that it's her room. So she thought, maybe he might have accidentally crawled in. And she immediately thinks, maybe I should tease him a little bit. She immediately puts her actual head very close towards his actual ear, and whispers into it, "Hey, Izu." Immediately, Izuku just wakes up from hearing this, and Sprint just gets all the way upwards and accidentally headbutts Mitsuki in the face. Mitsuki just falls to the ground and says, "Ow, my fucking head." And she screams this, and Izuku says, "I'm sorry, you okay?" He immediately tries to get up, but the covers are directly under his feet, and he trips and falls on top of Mitsuki and has her pinned down to the ground. And that's when Bakugo just walks in and says, "Hey mom, I'm about to go to school," before seeing this scene. Izuku's shirtless on top of his mom, his mom currently is very sweaty right now, and that's because the actual temperature in her room is naturally hot. So currently, Bakugo is looking at Midoriya and back to his mom, back to Midoriya and back to his mom, and he's just walking outside of the room, closing the door behind him, and just doing this. "Deku was not fucking my mom. Deku was not fucking my mom." And then he opened the door and just saw Izuku still in the same position. They haven't even moved. And Bakugo just says, "Deku, what are you doing with my mom?" And Izuku says, "I tripped. I was trying to go to the guest room, but I actually went in here and, well, I laid down, didn't check. She ended up grabbing me, and honestly, she has a gorilla grip. And I felt like my bones were breaking, and that's what happened." Immediately, Bakugo says, "And you expect me to believe this?" While Izuku says, "Yeah." And Bakugo just starts firing explosions towards him and says, "You better run, nerd." While Mitsuki says, "Bakugo, if you don't get your explosive ass out of here, I will beat you with a frying pan." And immediately Bakugo just looks towards her and says, "Old hag, stay out of this." While Mitsuki just moves Midoriya off of her and walks towards Bakugo, grabs him by the ear, and yanks him all the way down the stairs, and has a demonic ass aura around her. And Izuku thinks in his head, rhyme note not to piss off Mitsuki. While Mitsuki's downstairs, Izuku can hear multiple different slams. He walks down the stairs and sees Bakugo with 5 bumps on his head right now, and Mitsuki with a frying pan smiling. Immediately, Mitsuki looks towards Midoriya and says, "Do you want any breakfast?" And Izuku says, "Yeah, sure." She immediately puts on an apron and starts making breakfast. Makes breakfast for both Midoriya and for Bakugo. So while they were eating breakfast, immediately Mitsuki feels like teasing Izuku a little bit. So Mitsuki ends up saying, before you go to school, would you like a bath? Would you like more breakfast? Or would you like me? And right when that was said, Izuku had a quest that popped up right in front of him from the Milf system itself. The Milf system said, accept third option. Izuku said in his mind, if I say that third option, Bakugo is probably going to explode. As he looks towards Bakugo, and he's already shaking and holding on to the edges of the table, having little burn marks on the side of the table. And Izuku just walked up directly behind Mitsuki and held his hands out in front of her, put it around her waist, and said, I'll take the third option, as he whispers into her ear. And this causes her to blush, and this causes Bakugo to get up out of his seat, start exploding towards Midoriya. And Midoriya, who's currently directly in front of, Mitsuki, decides to go ahead and move to the side, because Danger Sense warned him. He moves to the side, and immediately Bakugo, who was trying to explode Midoriya, just flew directly in front and had his head directly stuck through the window. Like, literally, he was get stuck through the window. Not even the window, not through the wall in front of him. And immediately, Izuku says, I'm just going to go ahead and get dressed and go to school real quick. He just walks up the stairs, while Mitsuki ended up saying, I didn't think he actually would say that. While he was walking up the stairs, the system popped up again and said, rewards, 1,000 points. Izuku says, are the rewards random? Well, the system says, yes, the rewards are random. Essentially, you could do a very, very, very tough quest and get little to nothing, but you could do a super easy one and get about, the same amount of points. The points are random usually. You can get skills through certain quests too, which would happen eventually. Immediately, Izuku says, so I get a random amount of points from each quest. I randomly get 1,000 because of that, right? Immediately, the system says, yeah, you can get random points from different quests to different rarities and different difficulties. But we just gave you 1,000 because, we were supposed to do that in the beginning, but, you needed to do at least 2 missions to be able to do that, so, yeah. Immediately, Izuku says, okay, I guess I'll go ahead and spend. He spends, he gets 10 straight abilities, and all 10 of the abilities are things he would not use except for one of them. One of them was called Strength Enhancement. Immediately, Izuku says, hey, pop up what Strength Enhancement does. Immediately pops it up, and it says it increases his strength by 10 times his original strength, and is consistently active, and it cannot be turned off by any quirk. Immediately, Izuku says, isn't that overpowered? Before the system pops up again and says, no, this is actually a common rarity. The reason why it's not overpowered is because the drawback is that it causes you to eat more. And also another drawback is the fact that, it's 10 times your original strength. So if you're really weak, you're only 10 times stronger than your weakest self. While Izuku starts to nod and understood this, he immediately goes all the way up the stairs, gets ready for school, but before he gets ready for school, he starts taking a shower, before hearing a knock and saying, who is it? While the door just opens, and Izuku sees that it was none other than Bakugo. And Izuku says, what the fuck? While he starts covering himself, and Bakugo says, okay, I should have knocked. I really should have. I just came in here to grab my phone. While grabbing his phone, Bakugo was staring at Izuku, and Izuku says, Bakugo? Is there something you want to tell me? While Bakugo says, no, I don't swing that way. While Izuku says, are you sure about that? While he points both hands at him. And then he realizes he didn't cover his thing. While Bakugo says, why is yours bigger than mine? And he just starts crying. While Izuku says, oh, this is so fucking awkward. As he just gets out, just puts his clothes on, just runs down the stairs. And Mitsuki just says, what happened? As he sees Izuku completely just pale. And he says, Bakugo accidentally walked in and he starts coughing and about to like throw up for real. Runs into the kitchen and barfs. And immediately says, I just gotta go. And he just runs off. But before he runs off, the system pops up again and says, Another quest. Kiss Minsky Bakugo on the cheek in front of Kachan. Immediately, Izuku says, why is the system calling him Kachan? And the system says, well, it's because you won't call him that anymore, and people want us to call him that. Well, at least my administrator wants me to. And immediately he says, okay. Bakugo walks down the stairs, still quite fucking traumatized from seeing what he literally thought of as the kaiju, is what he's calling it now. And immediately sees that Izuku's still there, and it's like, what the fuck is Deku still here for? Immediately, Midoriya walked up towards Mitsuki, who asked, what's wrong, Midoriya? And Midoriya just straight up kissed her on the cheek, left side of her cheek, and says, bye, Mitsuki, and just started running out the door like a speed runner, while Bakugo's just exploding behind him, says, get the fuck back here. And immediately, Mitsuki just looked in awe of what just happened. And that is What If Deku Had the Milf System, Part 2. I'm sorry if it was really short. It's just I was kind of burnt out, and I didn't have that much of an idea. So I figured might as well do this. Alright, I hope you all